I think I was spending a lot on loose mineral for them to eat salt. I'd put a week's worth out, and a lot of times it'd be gone in 3 or 4 days, but I wouldn't put any more out until that week was up, and then they'd go 3 or 4 days without any because they would consume so much of it. It just kept getting more and more expensive, and kind of what I've come to realize now, they were chasing the salt that was in the mineral, and they weren't getting what they needed out of the mineral because it wasn't that high quality. What really intrigued me on it was the feed savings. If I can run 20 to 30% more cows on the ground that I have, that's a way more efficient way for me to build some numbers. When I first tried it was just on a group of about 50 older cows that were not in the best shape. I was feeding them some pretty marginal hay and not very much of it. I noticed they got shiny and they were kind of putting some weight on, but where I really noticed it was after they calved and some green grass came, and they really fleshed up. You wouldn't have believed they were the same cows. I've told a few people I think on those cows it saved my bacon because they were not in real good shape. This winter, February, was pretty cold and nasty, and I never fed them more than about 27 pounds a head a day of some 2-year-old pretty much straight grass hay. About half of it had quite a bit of spoilage in it. It was far from nice hay. What I've noticed the most is you can feed them some pretty poor quality stuff and they'll still do good. There's not as much there, but they're able to get everything out of it that's in it. At least a little chunk of ground, and the guy has it in a grassland CRP. He's required to leave 40% of the standing forage, so I had 18 more cows in there, and the whole bunch was in there for 2 weeks longer. And that was cows that had been on Riomax this last winter versus the winter before they hadn't been on. It saved me 2 weeks of hay on 100 head of cows. So this is the first spring calving that I haven't had some cows not clean. I've never had a big issue with it, but I'll usually have, a handful of them that don't clean. And this is the first year I've calved some heifers for quite a while and didn't have any trouble with that on them either. They're just doing what they're supposed to. Everything's balanced out. The cows that I have that have been on Rio since March of 24, 130 cows, 92% of them calved in the first cycle, out of a 94% overall breed up. That's a lot of calves in the first cycle. And there's cows right now that are cycling that a couple of them calved 30 days ago. I'll turn bulls out here in a month, and if those cows have already been cycling, they should breed in the first cycle again. My steers actually weighed the exact same as they did the year before, but I had bumped my calving date back 10 days. An average age 10 days younger, they actually gained 0.11 of a pound per day more than they did the year before, which came out to about 18 extra pounds. And the year before was the best grass year I've ever seen in my life. I attribute that extra weight on those calves to the Riomax. The Riomax cost me $8 a cow to feed from March till November. And then you throw in some breed up. The cows were in significant better condition last fall than they usually are. Just in the extra weight on the few dry cows I had covered that $8 a head. It takes quite a bit of cash to fork out to get it, but once you make that first initial investment, then it's a one-time deal, because then you're getting the return off of it after that. It's not an instant fix. You're not going to get instant gratification out of it, but if you commit to it, you'll see the benefits, and not only will it pay for itself, but it'll make you some money.